Hello, Karissa. Welcome to the Perfect Child podcast.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you, Belinda.
You're welcome. I'm here with Karissa Dean of Life, Business, and Beyond. Karissa, I'm going to start with your bio.
Okay.
Karissa Dean is a beacon of empowerment, guiding fellow dreamers to illuminate their inner light and thrive through every stage of life's journey. As the former head coach at AB Coach, Karissa cultivated authentic connections with her clients, fostering an environment where they could step boldly into their power. Having personally experienced the transformative power of coaching and mentorship, Carissa chose to embark on her journey of reinvention, emerging as a mentor and certified coach herself. Her story serves as a testament to the profound impact of embracing change and leveraging the right tools to radically transform one's life. In addition to her coaching prowess, Carissa is a sought after speaker, delivering mindfulness workshops for esteemed organizations such as Reserve Bar, Living Room Realty, EXP Realty, Walter Scott Wines, PRSA Oregon, and Designer Network New York, LA. Carissa intimately understands the challenges of balancing multiple roles and relationships. Drawing from her diverse background, from teaching dance and early education to owning and operating property management and trucking businesses, she brings a wealth of life lessons and expertise to her practice. Outside of coaching, Carissa finds solace in nature, often spending time with her horses, traveling, or indulging in the pages of a captivating book. Carissa, is there anything else you'd like to add to that?
No, you read that so pretty. It's so funny. I always love listening to it because I'm like, wow, this lady's a little bit here and a little bit there. Yeah, no, I think that pretty much encompasses the chaos that is me.
Ah, the chaos and everything magical that is
Yeah,
you.
I don't
All
think
right.
chaos is bad. I'll say I don't think chaos is bad. It's just about
No.
if it's organized and intentional.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I recently participated in a root masterclass that you offered with Carolyn Kay. And I was really excited when I heard you describe your A.R.C approach to living a more abundant life. So obviously, I immediately texted you and was like, let's get you on the podcast. And so, can you please tell us about your unique A.R.C approach?
Yeah, I'd love to. So when I went through coaching training, it talked a lot about cultivating your pathway, your unique way that you support your clients. And so it took me a while to kind of land on this, but I started really thinking about like what are the conversations I'm having with my clients and then how am I, guiding them through the transformation that they're seeking, right? Because we're all very unique individuals, but we battle the same battles, and they're similar in the nuances that they are, right? And so the first thing that I identified was that without self awareness, you can't go anywhere. So I think awareness is the key to everything. And I was actually thinking about this morning when I was walking out to take care of my horses, feeding them hay. I'm walking back inside and there's this tiny little earthworm that's going through the gravel. And I was like, that's awareness. When you are present enough to notice the smallest of details, and then you can make conscious choices because you have that awareness. And so, self awareness, this is the A of my A.R.C approach. Awareness is everything. Without you being an active participant in what's working in my life, what's not working in my life, and taking the time to become self aware, you miss everything, right? And so awareness is key. Without it, I think we're just floundering through life. We're just floating.
We're just allowing life to take us.
Yeah, and those are the I think those are the people who life is happening to them, right? Because they're
Mhm.
not identifying, okay, what is this offering me? I think everything's an opportunity, right? Whether it's an opportunity for us to heal part of our inner child, for us to deepen our self-love and our self-respect, for us to really learn more about the world. But really, without that, you're just letting life happen to you instead of understanding the co-creative world that we really truly do live in. So that's the A.
Mhm.
The R is all about reflection. I am a true believer that when we look back at where we came from, and we kind of look at not just what happened, but what it was teaching us, what it was offering us, and how we showed up in that. So that's kind of where the awareness
Okay.
blends back in. When
Hmm.
you look back and you're like, okay, I had this huge argument with my partner, or I went off on my kid, and you look at the things that happened after that, right? So you had this argument, and then this is how they responded, and then this is how it made you feel, and this is how they felt after it. And like when you take the time to reflect and then you draw on your awareness, oh, I see my role in that argument. I
Hmm.
see where, had I paused and given space, given myself a breath, maybe I could have reacted differently, which would have changed the rollout of what actually happened. So I think reflection is key, but there is a sticky point in reflection, because you have to be self-aware enough not to beat yourself up. And you're
Hmm.
somebody who goes down that guilt and shame spiral, reflection can be really challenging. And so it's important that you really work in that first step, and you work with somebody who can hold you accountable to, no, we're not doing this to go through shame. This isn't about being a bad person or that you did the wrong thing. It's removing the
Hmm.
good and bad, and it's simply just being aware. And so
Yeah.
when you reflect with through the lens of I'm just looking to gather information, then you can move on to the C, which is creating. What do we consciously want to choose to create next? And that's where it becomes really powerful and beautiful. So when you blend the awareness with the reflection, and
Yeah.
then you look at, okay, what do I want to do next? So the next time you get into it with your partner, or you feel like you're about to lose it on your kiddo, you have more awareness and you have
Yeah.
the moment of reflection, and then you get to consciously choose what you do next, what you're creating. And the really cool part about the A.R.C approach is you can come back around to the A, and you can be accountable to your actions.
Hmm.
We take it a step further when you go deeper into the work. So when you become accountable to your actions, then you start to open yourself up to receptivity, right? Then we start to receive everything we want. So then we're back at the R. And
Yeah.
then in that receptivity, you're cultivating the community, and
Ugh,
you're creating.
stop it.
I know. And then you're
This is
creating.
amazing. It's so beautiful, this journey you've laid out.
Yeah. But then the thing is like you go back and you can do it again. And I've seen in, I think I started using this like 3, maybe 4 years ago, and really teaching it.
Yeah.
It applies in all areas of life, in your business, in your personal life, in your relationships, in just living, being a mom, being a
Hmm.
partner, being a human.
Being a
You know,
human.
um, and it truly is something that you can apply in all areas of life, because it's not about what's outside of you, it's about what's inside of you, and it's about slowing down and giving yourself the opportunity to expand
Hmm.
what's inside. And it really is awareness and accountability, in my opinion. Those are like the powerful key holders here for everything.
Yeah. And it's so interesting because it's all inner work. And that's just, it seems like it's just now hitting like the tip of the iceberg, maybe that people are continuing to talk about the inner work, because that's all we have. We can only affect ourselves and our own perceptions. And really, it just comes down to that is like our perception of the world. And
Yeah.
your practice, the A.R.C approach times two, is what helps us to understand our own perceptions.
Well, and it's the, what did you say? You said something, it's the world, right? But when you understand that you are a mirror of your world,
Yeah.
and you do that because you've become aware of your role, that is really the meat and the magic in life, is when we realize our response, our reaction, the way that we collaborate as individuals with each other
Yeah.
vastly changes our experience of the world. And it is the inner work.
Yeah,
I don't
it
want to do
is.
it because it's sticky.
But it's so good. Like my friends and I are always talking about because we're constantly working on ourselves, right? And every time you get that nugget where you're like, oh, I see my participation in that,
Yeah.
or I see how this person showed up to help me recognize my an instant in my childhood that was a need that was unmet.
Yep.
It's like, the heavens open up and you're like, this is great. Like, oh, everything is happening for me at all times.
Yes. Yeah. And I think, the hard part is we forget that life is still going to happen. I remember being on this personal development journey and watching it transform the relationship I had with my daughter, the relationship I had with my mother. And really, it is this beautiful opportunity to look at our role, and
Yeah.
that's where it gets sticky and it doesn't stop. I remember like being like, okay, I did all the work, like I read the books, I went to a silent retreat, like I've done everything, I must be healed and perfect now, right? But
Right?
like that's the thing, and I think that's what scares people about doing the work, is that once you open that door, it's really hard to not be self-aware, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's exhausting to continually have to show up and take that accountability for your.
Well, and I also want to go back to what you just said about, oh, I'm perfect now. I think the culture that we grow up in is so steeped in the attainment of a so-called perfection, whether it's coming from your parents or society. There's this goal that you're trying to attain in order to be perceived as perfect. And that's the misconception because we're all born perfect.
Yeah.
And like we're not trying to attain anything. And what our work is really just to show up in a way that honors everybody else's perfection
Yeah.
and
But
meeting everybody where they're at.
yeah, it's that soul authenticity, right? It's that aligned self. And you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. We live in this world that's telling us what perfect is. But
Right.
perfect is you being aligned, and the way that you feel inside your body. I talk about this all the time with my clients, is it's not about getting somewhere, it's about how you feel on your path. And that's the perfection, right? Is that
Yeah.
feeling inside. And I think that's what we're all chasing, truthfully, is that feeling of contentment.
Yeah.
That's the perfection that is really out there, right? It's that
Yeah.
the baby that's just born needs nothing,
Nothing.
right? It just
Yeah.
exists. And because it exists, it's perfect, right? And so
Right.
it's that essence, that feeling. And I think we are all striving for that. And we miss the mark because we're so focused on the external validation and the external
Right.
feedback, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why awareness, self love, self respect, self identification, right? Really,
Yeah.
really knowing yourself, that's perfection, right? That is the true, like, what feels so good, right? It's what
Yeah.
feels so good.
Yeah. And what's also great about perfection is when you are talking about reflection without judgment, what's really perfect is reflection plus repair.
Yeah,
Because as I was speaking with another guest that I had on, she was talking about how the most valuable thing that we can model for our children is not perfect parenting, but the repair.
yeah,
So they need to be able to see us making mistakes and then coming back and saying, "Oh, I'm sorry. I recognize this in myself and and my participation in this and I'm sorry or I will do different." So it's like that repair is so important, right? So it's not this attainment of like perfection. I want to show up as a perfect person. I want to show up in my authentic self. And if I mess up because I've hurt your feelings, then I will be aware of that.
well, and it's the accountability, right? This is
Yeah.
what's beautiful about the ARC approach, is when
Yeah.
you take the time, like, you're aware, you reflected, what do you want to create? Well, I want to have a really epic relationship with my child. I also want to do as little harm as possible to their self-image. So
Right.
I'm going to go back to accountability and I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to say, hey, remember when I kind of freaked out on you? I just want to apologize. I was really tired. or I was
Yeah.
having a hard day, right?
Yeah.
Owning where you're at. I have had to do this so much with my daughter in the last year as I've navigated just literally uphealing her whole life and getting divorced and all the things, right? And so
Right.
I really had to be accountable to my role in the dynamic that's shifting. And I had to really express, and I worked really closely with her counselor, to be
Yeah.
like, I messed up. Like, how do I repair this with her? And she's like, well, you already did because you told her that you messed up and you owned
Yeah.
it and you
Yeah.
and you showed the vulnerability, but you also expressed why, right? I was
Yeah.
overwhelmed. I was stressed. I was tired. So when we model the feeling and we
Mhm.
speak it, it gives these kiddos this opportunity to be like, oh, that's what overwhelm can look like.
Yes.
And it's
Yeah.
so important.
And the reason why I think it's so important to bring you on to talk about your ARC approach is because as parents, our most important work is self work. And so, even though you're a business coach, but you're also a life coach, it's that as a parent who is wanting to show up in our most authentic self, it is really hard to find our way back to unconditional love for ourselves when we don't have a guide or an outline to follow. And I think what you offer any human who is seeking to be a little bit more forgiving of ourselves and wanting to step into a place of abundance, you can offer that service.
Well, it's interesting that you say it like that, and I really appreciate that. And it's true. I say all the time because I don't think we give women a whole lot of credit, and there is this insane paradigm shift of what was traditional male female roles, and the world that we live in kind of demanded that women did more than just that old school traditional norm. We neglect the fact that whoever is running the household is truly a CEO. So yeah, I'm a business coach,
Right.
but I work with a lot of moms who
Yeah.
are simply managing a household and the role is and responsibilities that they have to make a home run. And
Yeah.
it's a mental load, not just all the doing and things. It's the planning and organization, the stuff that nobody sees. And so I think, one of the things I want to share is everyone's an entrepreneur. Everyone's running business. Your
Yes.
life is a business.
Yes.
And entrepreneurship, just like parenting, is a mirror of your healed and unhealed parts. It will reflect back to you exactly the place that you need to go deeper. So
Yeah.
if your business is struggling with marketing, you probably have an issue in being seen, right? Or some sort of
Right.
fear, right? Around visibility, right?
Yeah.
If you're having a hard time in sales, you probably are navigating some level of self worth, right? Some sort of
Yeah.
receptivity, right? Or you have some
Hmm.
sticky money issues. Um, if you're lacking in foresight and organization, you're probably super depressed and holding on to some trauma in the past. If you're constantly planning and you're 10 steps ahead, you're probably very anxious because you're trying
Hmm.
to control the outcome of the future. So
Yeah.
entrepreneurship, as with parenting, is simply an opportunity for us to do the inner
Mm.
work, for us to go
Oh my
deeper.
gosh.
And this
Oh my
is
God.
why this is why it's so important. This is why it's so powerful, is because you can't step fully and boldly forward and be the parent you want to be or be the entrepreneur or executive that you want to be without looking at the things that are being mirrored back to you.
And you know what's interesting about that is that when you're paralleling being a CEO and entrepreneurship with parenting or just being a human, when we do this work, then we will be stepping into a more conscious way of running businesses. So
Yes.
we actually have humans starting businesses or running businesses or transforming businesses from profit first to people over profit. And then,
Yes,
you know what I mean? Because we're all coming from this place of authenticity.
absolutely. And I love, I mean, I think if we like scale it all back to like humans are humans, we
Yeah.
all come here with some niche, right? Something that we're
Hmm.
really,
Our gift.
yeah, right, and we're aligned, and it's our purpose. And so truthfully, this self journey, this inner journey, the thing that I freaking love doing is really helping people align to the self, which is stepping boldly into your purpose, which is
Yeah.
is unapologetically deciding that
Mhm.
you're worthy of doing the thing that your
Yes.
soul came here to do. And I don't think it matters what you believe in, whether it's God or Allah or Buddha or
Yeah.
you're an atheist. I don't think
Yeah.
it matters. You have a purpose. You're
Yep.
really good at something. And the moment you tap into that, you are for the people, not for the profit. But the
Exactly.
magic of it is that the profit is a natural byproduct
Yes.
being in your purpose. When you're
Yep.
in your purpose, you are naturally provided for. And I've seen it hundreds of times in my
Yes.
own life as well as others. I can look back at the hardest seasons of my life and be like, not once did I actually go without what I needed.
Right.
Not once.
Right.
It was always
Exactly.
provided for. And
Right.
now, the more I step boldly into my purpose, the louder I get about the A.R.C approach or just coaching or just living aligned entrepreneurship, doing the businesses that I'm doing that aren't in coaching,
Yeah.
the more I can help other people
Right.
because I have more available to give.
Yeah. And this is why, as parents, one of another most important thing that we need to think about is not hindering our child's divine path
Yeah.
because we don't know what the future holds. And so when we are forcing a child to acquire a role that we perceive as successful or et cetera, whatever, that is putting a barrier up for your child to access their own divine purpose.
Yes.
So then go see Carissa so that you don't do things like that.
Well, but see, this is like, I would say, initially I wanted to say 90%. It's probably closer to 60 or 70%. This is 60 to 70% of the work that I'm doing is untangling all of the BS you were told to believe
Yes,
by your
exactly.
parents, by your teachers, by your doctor, by your counselor, by
Mhm.
your elders,
So
by
many.
church leaders, by God, the government, by the magazines, I
Mhm.
mean, just one Disney movie, right? That's all. One Disney movie. Okay, you have
Right.
to be a damsel in distress, and somebody else has to save you, right? So,
Right.
like, literally, so much of my work is pulling out all of that noise
Yep.
and helping you come back to what do I believe to be true for me?
Right.
What is true
Right.
for me? And it's the connection of what do I know in my brain, but what do I know in my heart? And then
Yes.
also, can I trust my gut? And can I collaborate between head, heart, and belly and really bring all three of these to my throat and speak it and do it and
Oh
create
my
it?
gosh. You're speaking my language.
Yeah. So
Okay, so
that's the meat.
that brings me to talk about the a blog post that I read of yours, and it was titled "What I Didn't Do."
Ooh, okay.
So you talked about how often do we just sit and wallow in what we didn't do and what we should have done, and that is so real. We do that a lot, especially mothers. And so you then invite your readers to reflect on asking yourself, what is the feeling of me? Who am I? What is my frequency? What is my vibe? Right? Um, and that like really kind of struck a chord because you know what? When I had my mother staying with me, when she was diagnosed with cancer, I had asked her, well, mom, like, what is your favorite food? Like, what is your favorite? And she just was like, she thought about it and she's like, I actually didn't really know because all I ever did was like picked out whatever was your dad's favorite and what you kids were whatever your favorites were. So I never really even thought about what my favorite things are. And she was like 70 something. And I'm just like, that is so sad. So, tell me since you've written that post, how are you feeling now? Like, how often are you incorporating this checklist with yourself
Every day, every
every
day,
day?
every day. That breaks my heart. And I think that that is one of the things that I know is a reason I'm here, whether it's for one person or a million people, doesn't matter, is to help people understand that yes, we're doing this work because we want to be better for others, for our kids, for our partners, for our careers. But truthfully, I am a 38-year-old woman living my life for the very first time. And my needs, my
See?
desires, my wishes are just as important as my daughters or my partners or my people that I'm out in the world with. And so I think one of the things that has become really important, and this was a big life lesson, I think, in navigating getting a divorce and stepping out, it was saying, no, actually, this is how I want to live, right? It was no longer stuffing my desires down, but
Mhm.
actually untangling myself from society's
Yeah.
noise, but
Right.
also my ex, and being like, well, wait a minute, that's not mine. And so it's really challenging to do when you're cohabitating with somebody. I've had
Yeah.
this beautiful opportunity to reinvent myself by myself at the age of 38, but it's possible, and it's truly just about being intentional and being like questioning everything, like getting
Hmm.
curious about everything. And I think I wrote a social media post about that, like question everything. Why do I drive this way? Why
Yeah.
do I go to work? Why do I shop at this grocery store? Why am I, not texting people back? Why am I texting people back? Like, question everything. Why do you call the plumber that you call? Why are you going to the church that you're going to? Like, just the more that we can get curious about the things that we're doing on a day-to-day basis,
Yeah. Hmm.
the more
Hmm.
we can step into our authentic self, because we start that self audit, right? That is part of that first, when I work with clients going through the awareness, it's a huge self audit.
Yeah.
What are you doing every day? Why are you doing it? Do
Yeah.
you like that you're doing that? Or do we need to kind of look at it and be like, well, wait a minute, I'm doing this because my mom told me that this is what I need to do, but like, I actually
Right.
would really like to do this.
Right. Yeah. That's a big, big component,
Huge.
right? And yes, you have the opportunity right now to reinvent yourself free from other energetics in the room.
Yeah.
And this work can also be done when there are other energetics in the room. Because again, it just goes back to us and our own awareness and taking the time to actually ask ourselves, who am I? What is my frequency? Why do I do the things that I do? What, like, yeah, it's true. Looking at your habits and asking yourself, why am I doing that? Why do I do that? Does it light me up? And if it doesn't, make change.
Yeah, does it help? And I think that's the thing is we it I always reference the Truman Show because it's a perfect example. It's a perfect example of just going through the motions. I
Yeah.
get up at this time, I do this thing, I do this thing, and there's no self inventory, there's no awareness, there's no reflection, there's no like, wait a minute, right? Until it clicks with him, right? And then he's like, wait a minute, why am I doing what I'm doing? Okay.
Yeah.
And so the thing about it is you can have awareness, but if you don't take yourself all the way back to accountability, nothing
Yeah.
changes.
Right. Right.
So I can ask the question, but I have to be willing to do something about it. And if
Yeah.
I'm unwilling to change, there's no point. Don't even start the work.
Right. Right.
And it's the sticky part for people. And I think there is this perception of, well, I can't change because I know my partner won't change, or I can't change because I know I can't change my career. And I want to tell all those people, I have held so many beautiful individuals over the last 7 years of doing coaching, and I
Mhm.
have witnessed partners step up. I've
Yep.
watched partners step out and be
Yep.
the blessing. I have
Yep.
watched people go from being doctors and attorneys to brick and mortar, like card masters,
Yep.
owning little boutiques and different businesses that are more
Hmm.
soul aligned. I have watched women leave being stay at home moms and step into careers so that their
Yep.
partner can take a break. Like, you would not believe what's possible, but you have to believe in yourself and you have to be willing to do the hard work. And I
Yeah.
will say it does take two to tango, right? Like, I'm divorced because I kept challenging what wasn't working
Yeah.
in my life, and my partner didn't want to go there. He didn't want to meet me, right? And so
Right.
it is a collaborative effort with everyone around you, but it's
Hmm.
it's beautiful work because when you finally get to live the life that is yours
Yeah.
because you're choosing it,
Yeah.
because you chose yourself, I can't even begin to tell you how good it feels to wake up every
Yes.
day, right? And just like,
Right.
man, like, even in the hardest of seasons, I still have me. Like, I am not lost, right?
Right.
So,
Right. And that is the point, right? There are going to be people who feel like things aren't working and they just want to get a divorce or whatever. But if you haven't done the internal work, then then it'll be harder to get to the other side because you won't know what is right for you. And so it's just this the ARC approach just sounds really it's enlivening for the soul. And so, I mean, you've been practicing for a while. We're personal friends, and you know, you've done a lot of internal work. And do you feel like that because you have that ARC running through your mind at all times, do you feel like that is what has helped you to really move through something that was really kind of devastating for you? And you were managing yourself as well as your kid and all of these things. Do you think because you had this that you were able to consistently move forward with a smile? Because every time I see you, there's never once been a time where you've been devastated. Like you've not shown it. You have struggles of your own, but you haven't articulated it. You've always kind of shown up in strength. So,
well, thank you. You didn't see me on my real bad days, but that's because, so I think, yes, absolutely. The air personal, I think, okay, let me back up. Let me slow down and take a breath. So, I am a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. I
mhm,
know everything happens for a reason. When you're in it, you don't always see it and you will question everything. But I can look back. This is why I love the R in reflection. When I look back, I can see how I was held so divinely by God and the universe because the order of operations that I went through the last 10 years of my life, getting into personal development being one of them, is absolutely what gave me the stability to be on the path that I am in the frequency that is me. And so, yes, absolutely, having this in my toolkit was so valuable. But I think the understanding that we get to choose and it's okay to change. And I
yeah,
think that, like, having that as a fundamental belief that change is okay at any point in life, and really getting a divorce, it's just change. It's
yeah,
really no different than changing a career or changing where you live. It's a big life change, but it's just change. And change is always good if you're self-aware and you're doing it with intention. Now,
right,
I've walked alongside women who navigate divorce and they're getting a divorce because they're blaming the other person. I didn't get
right.
a divorce because I blame my partner. Was he
Mhm.
a terrible human? Is he a terrible human? Yes, I think he is because he doesn't have this self awareness piece. But I don't blame him. It is
Right.
not entirely his fault. I think because of the A.R.C approach, because I can look back on reflection, I can see that no matter what, inevitably, there's a very fundamental lifestyle that he wants to live that is
Hmm.
radically different than the one that I want to live. So
Right.
I think it would have been inevitable
Hmm.
that I would have ended up in a divorce because we want to live very differently. And so I think it's about change, it's about intention, and anytime you're changing and you're moving and you're doing something different, if you are carrying any blame or, FU energy,
Yeah.
you're not going to meet what you want to meet in that change.
Yes, and thank you for saying that because that applies to everything, every situation. It doesn't have to be a divorce.
No, it can be your kids in
Yeah.
school
Yeah.
blaming the system, blaming
Yeah.
the teachers,
Yep.
right? Like it is everything. It is, well, my kid is naughty because of screens and devices. Like it's blaming everything on everything else instead of seeing your role and your responsibility and what
Right.
you can do to create intentionally.
Yeah. Right. And we always have choice.
Always.
Choice is a really big one. I love that you have reframed divorce as just a change. Change is inevitable. Like anything that you experience, it's just a change, and we can just not make it so monumental.
Well, and I think about, I volunteer in a domestic violence shelter. And I think about why is it less bad, quote unquote, right? Why is it less bad for a woman who's going through physical abuse to get a divorce than a woman who's just simply unhappy and her nervous system is freaking out and she like doesn't want to be doing what she's doing anymore? Like,
Right.
why is one okay and one's not okay? Like, it's
Right.
still just change, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Still just
It's
change.
judgment.
Yeah,
They're both having their nervous system dysregulated, just in two different ways.
exactly. And so I think this is where, like this is a whole other can of worms and topic, but something I truly believe is there really is no good or bad. There just is
Correct.
life. There is
Yeah.
situations, there's circumstances, and everything is simply about our perception of it. How do we want to receive it? What is
Yeah.
the meaning that we're putting on it? The number one question anytime I'm with a client and they're like coming to me with some heavy dark shit, I'm like, what are you making it mean about you? What are you making it mean?
Yeah. Yeah, because if we were to just, which we commonly do, we say good or bad. So when
Yeah,
we put those labels on things, it's too simple. It's too simple to just say, well, that's bad.
yeah,
Then we don't have to deal with it.
right.
But again, it goes back to what you're saying. Like, what does it mean to you?
Yeah.
How can you say it's bad? Like, there is no bad or good.
No. I mean, and that's the thing is like I look at going through everything that I've gone through and were there some really heavy, nasty, terrible things? Yeah, but none of them are bad because I choose to look at it through the lens of what is this teaching me? How is this
Yes.
helping me grow? Where am I expanding? Where am I evolving? And I think that's likely why, you have this perception of seeing me and being in the light is because even in the darkest of times, I'm searching for the light. I'm trying to bring the light into the darkness because it's helping me. It's literally just building the tenacity to live in a dark world because we're never going to not have it. It's always going to
Right.
be there, but it's
Right.
about the weight that we give it.
Yeah. So well said.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carissa. I really loved our conversation. I think the work that you do is monumental and it's really going to shift a lot of humans, which is what we're seeking at these times,
Yeah.
right? It's really kind of helping people to discover their own inner light.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else that you'd like to add before we end our time together?
I mean, I think that just prompted me to, the thing that came was the playbook of life has changed. And so I think there are no rules right now. And that is why nervous systems are in overdrive. That is why we feel dysregulated. I think that's why there's so many young kiddos with mental illness. because the playbook just got spun upside itself, and now we have this opportunity as individuals to kind of do whatever we want, except for we're in that weird, like, nobody knows what that looks like, right? And there's half of us that think, yes, go for it, and then there's that
Yes.
half who are like, don't, that's scary.
Right.
And so I would just give whoever's listening, just get curious. Just get curious and start asking questions about everything, and
Yeah.
understand that you are a co-creator and what you want is available to you. It's not easy. I think one of the things in the coaching industry, especially if you're following people on social media, you will see a lot of like glitz and glamour. It'll make it look really pretty. Personal development work is not pretty. It's hard.
Mm-mm.
It's confronting. It will challenge you in ways that will make you question if it's worth it and if you're capable of it. And from being in the depths of those hells and watching clients be in the depths of those hells, I just want to tell people you are worthy of that work. It is not pretty. It is not glamorized. There's no filter for it. Um, but it's really, really powerful. And that is the transformative work that will ultimately help illuminate life, and bring more light into this dark world that we live in. And that's the collective consciousness rising. So
Yeah.
I would say dive in and get curious in the capacity that you feel safe doing so.
Yeah. And if you need like little nudges, just go to carissadean.com and subscribe to her newsletters.
You're so sweet. I love you. You're the best. Also, I have to say, when you were like, your mom didn't know what her favorite meal was, like the first thing I thought of was the beet burger that you and Hubby made, you and Greg. I went over to Belinda's house for dinner, and I swear to God, Belinda, I still am. I'm coming back over, and you're making it again.
Okay.
It was so.
Happily, happily. Thank you.
That's what I want.
Anytime. I'm always happy to eat a beet burger.
Oh, so good.
All right. I'll see you soon at my house.
Okay.
Bye.